Hello and welcome to Author. I am your host Jasveer, and today I am back with Shouvik Banerjee. Shouvik is the author of Seven Sundays and he is also a ghostwriter. We're going to talk about that a lot today because I'm really curious about ghostwriting. Apart from this, he writes on his blog shouvikbanerjee.com and his professional profile at craftmypage.com. You can search for Shouvik on Google and LinkedIn. Shouvik, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Jasveer. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us, Shouvik. Shouvik, to start with, tell our listeners something about your life, something that I have not introduced.
Okay, so till 2015, I was doing something entirely different from what I'm doing now. So I was working as a PhD student in one of the labs in India. So I have a background in genetics. I have a master's degree actually. I have published papers as well. And so I was basically dissecting mice. I was studying genes. I was doing molecular genetics. So currently you hear a lot about PCR. It's a like RT-PCR test for COVID, right? So PCR is something that once upon a time I did on regular basis. So that was my bread and butter basically. So then in 2015, when I joined my PhD program, I suddenly felt that this is not right for me. I mean, this career that I've chosen, so it's not suiting me. So I was a bit depressed at that time, and then I decided to turn my attention towards writing. So it's something that I've always enjoyed doing since childhood and well into my graduation days and everything. I was always writing, but I never took it up seriously. So in 2015, I decided to take the plunge, and then I started content writing. I started freelancing. So far, it has been a sort of roller coaster ride, you can say, because freelancing is not easy. You have to sort of start from scratch. You have to sort of face a lot of difficulties, and of course, there is success as well. But there's a lot to learn actually. And then in 2018, I wrote my book, Seven Sundays. So I always wanted to write a book, and then in 2018 it finally happened. And so then I decided that this is something I enjoy, writing full-length books. So then I started searching on the internet, and I realized that ghostwriting is a thing. I did not know that. So it's people who author books for others, and then it made so much sense because you see books by Saurav Ganguly, Sachin Tendulkar, or even Donald Trump, or people like them, politicians, cricketers, celebrities. They don't write their books. I mean, because they're not writers. Because I have written a book and I know how difficult it can be. It's really tough. I mean, you have to spend hours. You have to brainstorm. You have to gather all the data in one place. So I realized, then I realized that these people always hire ghostwriters. It's people who are experts at writing books. And so these people have tie-ups with publishing industries and agents as well. And so I realized this is something I can do. And then I started doing, and slowly, I got a few projects, and it has been really good so far. I'm enjoying it.
Right. So from your field to content writing, how's the experience been so far? Are you still looking to go back to your field, or you're going to stick to writing full time?
No, not at all. Because when I quit, I had quit for good. So I don't want to go back to that because I never really enjoyed science. I mean, so the thing is, when you're brought up in a typical middle class family, so you're always taught that there are 3-4 fields that you should choose from. You know, it's either engineering or MBA or some medical line or something like that, maybe lawyer. But people don't really talk about writing as a career. So of course, freelancing did not exist at that time. I mean, it did exist, but it wasn't as popular as it is now. So there's no point talking about that. But there are so many fields, right? People can even study literature and become good editors. They can become writers. But middle class people, they don't really want to explore these spaces. And so these things, even I never asked myself that I could do this, because nowadays I think that if someone had told me to look for an alternate career, I would have definitely chosen literature. I would have loved to study literature, English literature, and then maybe just it's very easy to say these things in hindsight, because I have faced all these difficulties, and because I'm enjoying writing now, it is easy to say that yes, I would have probably taken up literature. But anyways, whatever has happened, it's been good so far, and no, I won't be going back to it. I will be sticking to content. Right?
Okay, wonderful. And something you've rightly said over here, freelancing is not considered as a kind of a career over here. If you tell anybody, a typical middle class family, that you are doing freelancing, they would probably ask you a question: so what's the name of the company that you are working for? So till the time your career is not related to a company, it's not considered a career. And freelancing is very unpredictable. Today you might be working for one company or one person, or tomorrow you might be working for somebody else, and probably that is still not being accepted in middle class Indian family as a career.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's kind of changing now, I hope.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, COVID has shown everyone that all you need is a computer, internet connection, and some good ideas. That's it. I mean, if you look at statistics, then the number of freelancing shot up in 2020. So that is because people were looking for jobs. I mean, things were shutting down. Businesses were closing down. So where would people go to? I mean, those who had jobs, those who were getting like a monthly income, they were very lucky. I mean, I always say that to people, to my friends, you guys are lucky, because you were still getting paid in this time. So, but things have changed. People have realized that yes, freelancing is a thing now. So yeah,
I think that's the bright side of COVID. Freelancing started working, and corporates have realized the importance of working from home, because their businesses continue to flourish. Their employees were working from home, and it's working, right? It's working for everyone. Freelancers are getting work from home. You don't need an office. If you have a computer and an internet connection, you rightly said, you can start a business from home if your idea is niche. So let's quickly talk about 7 Sundays. What is the book about?
So it's a self-help book. So it's basically about how failures are important in our lives. So 2018, it was a sort of eye-opener for me. In that period, I was going through tremendous stress, and I was feeling very weighed down by certain failures in my life, because I had applied for a script writing job. So this was actually a contest, and then I was sure that I would get through, but it was my overconfidence, and so when that did not happen, I felt really bad. I felt that so what next? And so suddenly I had this idea about writing a book. I had this vision about a boy climbing a hill towards an imaginary castle. It's sort of like his goal, but as he keeps climbing, he realizes that this is a tough journey. So this is the thing about life. I mean, sometimes we think that we have a goal, and we start walking, and then we realize, this is tough. It's getting tougher by the minute. So this happens with all of us. And so that's how I got the idea from.
Right, 7 Sundays is available online on Amazon in ebook and paperback. Grab your copies now. I'm sure the review has been really great for 7 Sundays.
Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, people have been surprised actually. So when they said that the cover does not do justice to the book inside, they start reading a few pages, and then they're pulled in. So that was the biggest compliment for me. I was like, okay, thank you.
I think don't judge a book by its cover is what you've proven. Right. Shouvik, so what does writing mean to you? I mean, you've changed your career completely, from a technical field, from science background, to something which is completely non-technical, completely out of the box, completely unconventional when it comes to Indian values and beliefs. So what does writing mean to you?
So the thing is, I have always been a writer. I said this before also. The thing is, I just never realized it. Some people they need to vent out everything through a creative process. Other people have other means. So for me, it has been writing. And so, what does writing mean to me? Well, I would say it's everything. I mean, uh, these days, whenever I think of something, I always think about it in terms of words, in terms of writing. So it's like always me describing things. So whenever I'm traveling or whenever I'm speaking, so I am focusing on the finer aspects, you could say. So I look at how that person is speaking or how they are behaving. There are certain subtle small changes that other people won't notice, but I do. And I think writing has given me that, and it has been wonderful. I mean, looking at life through these small things. So uh, I would say writing has really opened my eyes to a whole new world, and it has made me more empathetic. It has made me more kind. It has made me realize that they're different kind of people and they go through different kinds of situations in their life. So we must never judge them too harshly. And the only thing we need to know is we need to know the story. So each person has a story, and so that is what I think I look for, and that is what writing has given.
Yeah, I think that power of observation that a writer has, it's fantastic, and converting everyday observation into stories is a real gift. So,
And it's
Shoaib,
fun too.
it's fun. It's fun observing people and using them as your characters in your stories.
Yeah.
So, Shouvik, you said that you've been writing, for a long time. Even as a child, you used to write. But now that you're a published author, tell us, what was your inspiration earlier for writing, and has it somehow changed now that you've become a published author?
So no, I still write with the same enthusiasm I used to do earlier. So I'll give you certain incidents of how I wrote. So I remember I was in, I think, the fourth standard when I first wrote something. So there is this famous detective in Bengali known as Feluda. Okay, and nowadays I think he has become popularized in other languages as well. People have translated his works. This is it's a character by Satyajit Ray, and so there used to be a series, Feluda 30. So there was a story, and I remember I saw that story and I loved it so much that I created a detective character of my own and basically plagiarized the whole entire thing. But the character was different. It was more like Sherlock Holmes.
And this was when you were 4 years old.
No, I think I was in my fourth standard. I was 8 years old.
Standard. Fourth standard.
Yes, I was 8 years old. So that is one incident that has stayed with me for a long time. And then I remember there was one teacher, like he used to beat students a lot, and he was, I think, for 1 year he was our English teacher, and he had told us to write a letter, and so I had not written anything, and so suddenly he picked me up in the classroom. I said, okay, read your letter, I want to hear what you've written. And so I read from a completely blank page. I started saying whatever came into my mind. I just started saying it, and so now I realize that how was I able to do it. It's because, like, I love creativity. I have always loved creativity. So then in the 11th and 12th standard, I was listening to music a lot, and so I started writing a bit of poetry, a bit of music. So this is how it developed, actually.
Okay. Okay. That's the true mark of a storyteller, when you read out of blank pages. And I think as a kid, if you were able to do it, I'm sure you've been exceptional as a storyteller even to date. So we are glad that you've actually changed your career and moved into story writing.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Shouvik, so you said that you had once entered into a contest for screenwriting. So tell us how difficult or rather different is screenwriting from let's say book writing.
Okay, so I have not been in that sort of group of screenwriters, but from what I've heard, it's more challenging. Book writing is usually you do it at your own pace, unless of course uh, you have been hired to write a book. So if you're writing your own book, then obviously you can pace it. So people spend 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, even 10 years to write a book, and no one is really pushing them to do it. But in screenwriting, it's very quick. It's like you have to brainstorm, you have to create characters. So I think it's really tough. Screenwriting is really tough.
Okay. And have you done any kind of course for that? Have you learned it from someone?
Oh, no, nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
So you knew you could do it and you are doing it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I went into the finals, I remember. So it's because, as I said, like I love writing. So when those challenges were given to me, I realized that this is something that I can do. And in fact, I was able to do it. But then when I went for the finals, I realized that this is tough. I mean, it's like they'll teach you something within like 1 hour or 2 hours or something like that. And then in the next day, you have to go and you have to sort of implement that in your writing. So that is very challenging, that environment.
Super.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about the topic at hand, ghostwriting. I'm sure the listeners are also raring to go for, waiting to listen about ghostwriting. So how does it work? How do you approach people? Let's quickly talk about the whole ghostwriting, concept.
So the easiest way to do it is, of course, going on job boards like a freelancer or Upwork. So I've got a lot of clients from Upwork. Then there's Fiverr, and sometimes I connect with people on LinkedIn. But the important part is to build your portfolio so that people can find you, right? So you need to sort of maybe work at a lesser wage for the first couple of projects, build your credibility. There are certain self-publishing companies that hire ghostwriters, so you can always join them. Well, of course, you have to search for them. You have to see who is hiring. So that is a good place to start. And once you do that, then of course, then you have to sign an NDA and an agreement that you won't share these things, and the basic things like whatever will be shared with you will be kept secret. And of course, your name won't go on the book as a ghostwriter. You will be working from the shadows. So yeah, that is basically how you do it. I mean, you can search for it online. So a lot of companies hire ghostwriters. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That is the part I'm curious about, because I've written somebody else's story. It's a biography. It's called Shahenshah, the story of Shrenik Shah. So it's the story of Shrenik Shah. And it's pretty clear that it's not written by Shrenik Shah, it's written by me. So that's not ghostwriting, right? So what I wanted to talk about is when you talk about the NDA that you've signed, this means that you can practically not name the book or the person that you've written the book for in any public forum, right?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot.
Right.
So how is it that you pitch your work? That's what I'm curious about. So somebody says that, oh, so you've written 12 stories for other people, but you can't share the name, right?
Yeah. So So the thing is, the one way to do this is by asking your clients directly. Okay. So when you're signing the NDA, you can tell your clients, see, look, can I get a few samples from this book so that I can show it to people, so that I can get more clients in future. Of course, your name won't be taken, and I won't tell people that I have written this book for you, but I like to take a couple of pages which I feel are really good, which sort of reflect my writing style, and I want to give that out as sample. So sometimes clients agree to that. They say, okay, fine, we don't have a problem with that. So you can take like 5 or 6 pages and then you can show it to other clients. That is one way. The second way of doing it is by telling the clients that you can sort of mention my name in the the thank you note that you're writing. So there you can say that so I've taken this person has helped me in writing the book, and so then I can show it to people.
Okay.
So because you see, ghostwriting, even though writers ghostwriters are writing it for something else, it's not really a big secret in the writing world. Because I remember Gary Vaynerchuk, I think he publicly said that he had used a ghostwriter for a certain, and honestly people were not shocked or surprised, because a lot of people do that all the time. So yeah,
I think
so
especially
yeah.
celebrities.
Yeah, especially celebrities, absolutely.
Right.
They do it all the time.
Right. So let's forget ghostwriting for a moment and talk about the most difficult part of writing process for you.
Okay, so the most difficult part I would say is sometimes clients, they have these unrealistic expectations from you, because most people, they don't understand what ghostwriting means. So I remember I was once I was working on a book for someone, and we created an entire structure and everything. We started working, and then suddenly along the way the client says that no, I don't want this, I want something else entirely different. And the thing is, I had to comply because I had not mentioned about that in the agreement, which I should have done. That was a lesson for me. So clients sometimes think that ghostwriting is, I'll just hire this person and I'll tell them that I want a book and I'll get a book. It doesn't happen that way, because if I have to write a book, I'll write my own book. But clients usually, they have their own material. They have some written material, or they have audios, or they have scribbles, or they have images, something. I need something to work with. We are like tailors, right? We are stitching words, sentences, and paragraphs into a pattern. But the thing is, everything has to come from the client.
Right.
The raw material has to be supplied to us. Then we'll be able to work.
Yeah.
Right. So this is something that sometimes clients fail to understand. And I think for me, this is the most difficult part. Otherwise, if I have the material, I'll be able to write it. It's not a problem.
True. You need an input to give a or apt output. Otherwise, if you don't get the input from the client, then it's just your imagination.
Yeah, absolutely. Then it becomes my book,
Then it becomes your book. Yeah.
Yeah. Then why would I give it to you? I mean.
Right. Truly fascinating. I mean, ghostwriting, I would like to explore that myself someday. Right. So, Shouvik, describe your writing process for us. So, what is your writing process like?
So, the first part of writing process is when let's suppose that all the documents have been signed, everything. So, the retainer has been paid. And so, the client supplies me with all the raw material. So, what I do is I usually go through the entire thing just to get an idea of what the client is looking for, and then I start creating the structure. The structure is, I think, the most important part. So we go back and forth, we have interviews, and then I sort of keep asking the client that what are the things that you want. It's you can say this is like a mind map. So we create a mind map, and we sort of talk about we break down the book completely. We break it down into its smallest parts, and then we inspect those parts, and then we sort of come to an agreement. Once we have agreed that okay, this is the structure, this is what we want, then I start the writing process. Then it becomes easier, because then there is a roadmap for me. So yeah. So and then once that has been done, sometimes most of the times there'll be research involved. So sometimes it comes from the client, or sometimes I have to do it on my own, but that is workable. That is not a problem, because I was in the research field. So I know that you have to go through a lot of like documents, and you have to spend hours reading material, and you have to go back and forth a lot. So that is something that I'm used to. So I actually like doing research.
Right. So
So
somehow your field is still connected with you,
absolutely,
or at least a part of it, right?
I think that is the best thing that science has given me. This this thirst for doing research.
Yeah,
So
the
I really
acumen
like
for
that.
research. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
been there. Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful.
absolutely.
And Shouvik, let's talk about this was about ghostwriting, right? The process for your ghostwriting projects. What about when you're writing for your own projects, for you? When
Yeah.
Shouvik is writing for Shouvik,
Mhm.
how's
So
the process like?
so my process is basically all over the place. You know, like I'm not a Dan Brown or a J.K. Rowling or Stephen King. I mean, these people, they have certain process. These people have routine. So Dan Brown wakes up at, I think, 4 a.m. and then he starts writing. Uh, so Stephen King writes, I think, 7 pages every day without fail. So I have nothing like that. It's basically my laptop, my computer is open all the time, and there's a Word document open, and so I'm just kind of thinking about it. I'm just sort of playing it in my mind. So procrastination is a huge thing for writers. Writers, because the writing part itself doesn't take much time. So let's say I'm writing a short story of around 1500, 2000 words. 2000 words I can write in, let's say, 3 or 4 hours, maybe 5 hours top. So the writing is not difficult, but sort of getting everything in one place, getting that idea, writing what I want to write, that is the most difficult part. So there's a lot of thinking involved in that. So I think for me, it's I always keep thinking about that writing. Once it's clear in my head, it becomes easy.
Mm-hmm. True. And are there certain things that you need in your writing space so that your writing process works smoothly?
Uh, the one thing that I need is a window. I mean, where I sit, there is a window. So wherever I go, I need a window because I can't work without a window. I don't know why. I feel I have claustrophobia. I don't like small closed spaces. So actually, I don't mind small closed spaces if there is a window there, so that I can look outside. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So that is just one demand that I have. Otherwise, there is nothing. There's nothing else. I don't have anything else.
Okay. And how often do you write? I mean, do you have a job that pays you and writing is kind of part time, or writing is all that you do all the time?
Yeah, basically writing is all that I do. So right now I'm trying to establish my company. So I've been dabbling with the idea of a content management digital marketing company. So I'm sort of getting everything in one place, looking for people, sort of trying to build my team and everything. That is what I'm doing right now. Of course, my ghostwriting clients are there, so they pay well. Apart from that, yeah, basically I write all day. Yeah, I know it can be very yeah what should I say, it can be quite tough at times, but I enjoy the process. I like it.
I think that's a dream come true to write all day and do nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, you need money, I mean,
Yeah.
uh, I'll say this, and I'm not ashamed of saying this. The only reason that working for money is because I need it. If someone pays me $1 million right now, I'll quit everything and I'll just write.
No, there's no, I think,
So,
shame in saying that. That's the way we live. We have to eat.
yeah, I
And to
mean,
eat, you
I,
need money.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, they love doing a day job. They love this daily grind. They want to go at work and they sort of want to feel productive. I think, like, if you get that money, if you have financial security, then sit and do what you want. Don't worry about it. Yeah, my thing is that I'm just doing it for financial security. I mean, whenever I'm planning to build a company or something like that, it's because I want financial security in my life. So in the next 7, 10 years, so I really want to take it to a good place, I want to sort of engage people, and then I just want to get out from it.
True.
Yeah.
That sort of differentiation between or comparison between passion and profession, I find it really stupid. भैया अगर तुम्हारा passion पैसे नहीं दे रहा है, then what good is that passion? So my passion is
Absolutely.
mountaineering, but mountaineering does not pay you in India. So
you have to pay a lot of money for mountaineering.
You have to pay. Majority of my health and safety trainers are mountaineers or were mountaineers when I was in India. And they were doing health and safety training to earn their bread and butter. Mountaineering did not pay them. So I think that whole concept of profession versus passion is kind of a stupid. If your passion pays you, follow it. If it doesn't, follow something else and keep doing your passion side by side.
Yeah, absolutely. Recently I posted something on LinkedIn about C.V. Raman. It's like he was a genius, obviously, and so by 19 he was done with his masters, and he should have joined a lab, but then his family was in debt, and so for 10 years he worked a government job, and he did not regret. He said that so whatever is in front of you, you should do that dedicatedly.
Yeah.
Right. So that is how you reach success, and that is a wonderful thing. That is a wonderful saying. So it's so true in today's world. Your passion is not going to pay, boss. It's not going to pay for you. If it does, you are lucky.
You are lucky.
That's
true.
You're lucky. But till then, keep grinding. Have a day job. Hustle on the side. Keep moving forward.
And trust me, Shouvik, cheers to writing as a profession. I someday would love to write full time and not do anything else. Hopefully I would be able to achieve that soon. That's my aim. But the example that you shared about C.V. Raman, closer to home, my dad, God bless his soul, he's no more there, but he worked in a government job for 30 years, but business was his passion. So the moment he got out of the job, when he retired, he invested his entire saving into business.
Right.
He had been doing, but I had never seen him complain or crib about the job. He enjoyed it for 30 years, more than 30 years. He was in government job. So as long as your passion pays, follow it. If it doesn't, then your passion must be part-time, and something else that pays for everything else, your food, your house, the life that you're living is your profession. And we should not regret about it, I think. Truly. Absolutely. So tell our listeners about your future projects. What are you working on?
So right now I am working on one non-fiction book, that is a business book. So he is right now conducting a lot of interviews with many sort of, what can you say, a lot of thought leaders and CEOs and businessmen, managers. So I'm waiting for that material. So it is really going to be good. That book, I mean, the idea that we are working on, it's very interesting, very, very interesting idea. So, and then I have a couple of other works in the pipeline. So the authors, they have showed interest. I'm just waiting for a call back from them. So they don't stay in India. One person stays in Australia. So he's writing an autobiography. So that is also going to be nice, because autobiographies are always good. You get to know so much about the person, and you sort of live that person's life, and that is something I enjoy writing about, autobiography, memoir. So that is one project. There is another project that is also semi-autobiographical, that is also in the pipeline. So he has not confirmed, so I'm waiting for that too. So yeah, these are what I'm working on, and there are a couple of others. So people have shown interest, but hopefully they'll contact me. So yeah.
Right. Wish you all the best. Yeah. Wish you all the best for all your future projects. And you've actually named 3 authors during our conversation: J.K. Rowling and 2 others. Who are other authors that you follow, sort of read? What does Shouvik read when he's not writing?
Oh, okay, that's tough, because I read different kinds of authors, and some of them have been so amazing. So there was one phase when I was only reading science fiction, and so Bradbury, Orwell, Philip K. Dick, Kurt Vonnegut. These are all some. I love their works, especially Ray Bradbury. He's one of my favorite authors. Of course, Orwell is there. But then I also read a lot of literary fiction. So Amitav Ghosh is my favorite. He writes historical fiction. There's Arundhati Roy, Salman Rushdie. I'm a huge fan of Rushdie. I'm a fan of Orhan Pamuk, Olga Tokarczuk. These are some of the authors that I've discovered recently. Then Kazuo Ishiguro. So I love their works. At home, Tagore and Satyajit Ray, Vibhushan, so Sharadendu Bandyopadhyay, all of their works. I love their work. And my second language was Hindi. So Premchand, I love Premchand. So I've read Nirmala, I think Godan, Gaban, I've read those. So those are some of the things that I like. So
you have no idea.
Yeah.
Sorry, you have no idea how glad I am hearing Indian authors, because most authors I've interviewed only follow English authors, but it's so good to hear Indian authors.
I love Indian authors because it feels at home. It feels like this is like our stuff. So yeah, absolutely. Then there's R.K. Narayan. R.K. Narayan I adore R.K. Narayan.
Yeah.
So Ruskin Bond. How can I miss Ruskin? I love Ruskin.
I think Bengal has a very colorful history of literature. Probably more Bengali authors are known worldwide than any other sort of state in India. So Bengal has produced some fantastic literary geniuses. You named Arundhati Roy, then Satyajit Ray, sort of in the genes. And Sabarna Roy, recent in modern literature, I think Sabarna is doing great work. I love his work. I've interviewed him personally for a channel called Solitaire. So he's an amazing guy. I've actually interacted with him. So his recent book, Mosaic, I think it's breaking all records. So he's doing really good work over there. So that's what I mean.
I read one of his books. I mean, it was poetry.
Yeah.
So I really liked it. I mean, it's something different. So I enjoyed one of his work.
Wonderful. So finally, Shouvik, what is that one message that you would like to give young and aspiring authors who are willing to explore the avenues of, let's say, ghostwriting or writing in general?
The thing is, keep reading. That's one thing. I mean, see, when I started out writing, I never had a mentor. Even I did not have friends who were interested in writing, who were from this world. I did not have people, did not know anyone in the publishing industry, did not know anyone who was a writer. There was this one guy, he had written and some of his works were published, but he was not a writer. He just did that and then sort of stopped it. So otherwise, I never knew anyone. So then I realized that I don't need anyone because I have the internet. I mean, you don't really need anyone's support. I mean, if you get that, then it's fantastic, it's wonderful. But if you don't have anyone, then there are tons of material on the internet. People have written beautiful blogs. There are a lot of videos. Like, keep following. This one happened overnight. So you have to keep doing it. You have to keep pushing forward. And if you're really passionate about it, you're ready to go through that hard work. And at the end of the day, you learn a lot about the writing industry, writing in general. And of course, the most important part, you have to keep writing. I mean, you can't be afraid of what you've written. So sometimes maybe you've written something and you'll feel that, okay, this is shit. This is not good. But then, all of us, we have felt the same way. So when we start writing, it's never good. But then gradually we keep doing it. We keep working on that. We keep writing first like 50 words, then 100, then 500, then 1,000. It keeps increasing and then we learn. So my only message is, keep pushing forward. Keep learning, keep reading, keep writing. Yeah.
True. I think that's a wonderful suggestion, because there is nothing that can't be achieved, or rather cannot be achieved with research. If you know how to do research online, and there are tons of resources, you do not find any help from a person or an individual, do your research online. There are so many resources available. And remember something that I keep telling, that is the benefit of working from home. The dog is barking in the background. That will come in the recording. But yeah, that's the side effects of working from home. But yeah, publishing and writing in general is a very slow process. You require a lot of patience. So don't lose your patience if it doesn't work for you. Keep trying, like
Yeah,
Shouvik said, keep moving and keep innovating. If something doesn't work, find another way. There are tons of resources. And read, read, read. If you want to be a writer, read and start reading now. Right?
absolutely.
Right, guys,
Absolutely.
that was Shouvik Banerjee for you. He talked about ghostwriting, and I'm sure that was quite enlightening. You've learned a lot about ghostwriting. Shouvik, thank you so much for taking time out to talk to us. It was really a wonderful conversation.
Thank you, Jasveer, for having me on your podcast. This was great.
Thank you, Shouvik. And guys, I will be back with another episode shortly. Till that time, thank you so much for taking time out. Have a good day and take care.